Backstory. I'm a 64-year-old who likes staying fit and riding motorcycles. This incident happened last year. My son, his wife and my grandson were visiting. My grandson, Tween, wanted to go for a ride on my bike. I made sure he wore proper safety gear before we went out. Unfortunately, we were rear-ended in an accident. I got out unscathed, but my grandson broke his arm. To say I was devastated would have been an understatement. I let the driver run because I needed to take my grandson to the hospital. The cops were called and the driver responsible was arrested. At the hospital, my son and his wife rushed straight to my grandson, ignoring me entirely. When we returned home, I tried to talk to my son, but he slapped me across the face and told me they were never coming back. I was very hurt, but genuinely believed there'd been a misunderstanding and forgave him as I understood he was distressed. Over the months, I sent multiple apology letters and tried to contact them, but they ignored me. On my grandson's birthday, I sent him a Lego set. Later, my son called saying my grandson wanted to talk to me. I was very happy and answered the call, only to hear my grandson say he hated me and to screw off. A week later, the Lego set was returned, smashed to pieces, with a note saying that if I ever tried contacting them again, I'd meet the same fate as the Legos and they were going completely no contact. Something broke in me. Since I couldn't do anything else, I changed my will. I removed my son, daughter-in-law and grandson. I drafted a new will stating that if I die right now, all my savings, assets and life insurance, totaling $500,000, would go to donations for old age homes and orphanages. I did set aside $50,000 for my grandson's future college expenses, but he'll only receive it when he's 21. I had the will written up by my lawyer and signed it in the presence of witnesses. Recently, my daughter-in-law's father, a lawyer, must have found out. My daughter-in-law called me saying I was wrong for punishing them since the accident was my fault. She also said they'd only allow supervised visits with my grandson if I wanted a relationship with him. I told her I was old, not a fool, and reminded her that they were the ones who went no contact. I told her not to contact me again and blocked her. My son and grandson both keep calling me, but I'm not picking up. Gold diggers. I genuinely wanted a relationship with my grandson, but I refused to spend my twilight groveling for scraps of their approval. I'm done. Am I the idiot for removing my son and grandson from my will? Not the idiot. The smashed Lego set was mailed with a vicious note. Jesus, your son and daughter-in-law are entirely in the wrong for treating you with such disrespect and refusing to have a relationship with you. It's your choice how you want to distribute your assets, and it sounds like you have good intentions in donating to charitable causes. Your grandson's behavior only reflects the poor parenting he's received from your son and daughter-in-law. Stay strong and don't let them manipulate you. I'm gobsmacked that these ingrates even dreamed they'd remain in the will. They went no contact, returned a present destroyed with threats, and told him in no uncertain terms to stay away from them. And it came as a surprise that they're written out of the will. OP's son and family sound unhinged. Opie sticks to his guns and spends his money on his own. Dude, why are you not angry that this information was leaked? Lawyers shouldn't be doing this. How do you know your lawyer wouldn't conspire to change the will behind your back? OP, get another lawyer to consult and, if needed, file disbarment against your lawyer and your son's father-in-law. As of now, your legal support has been compromised. Imagine the people tasked with defending you might not have your best interest, or at the very least, are not secure enough. Yeah, are you sure your lawyer drafted the will correctly and hasn't made provisions to ensure the son and daughter-in-law will still get something? Very fishy. Have another lawyer look over the will to double-check. This situation is messed up, so don't take it lightly. Honestly, this is a horrible situation to be in. Update, I do know about attorney-client privileges. It's just that I didn't think what was happening was a clear violation. I called my lawyer continuously and he finally picked up. He said he didn't tell anyone about the will and suggested it might have been the witnesses. Right now, I don't know whom to trust, and I've scheduled a meeting with him tomorrow to discuss the issue more specifically. I didn't know the leak was such a major issue, and now I'm researching the laws that say it is in our country. I'm definitely taking steps if there's been an overreach. Also, I'd like to clear up a few things. Yes, my son and his wife knew and permitted the rides. We didn't go on long rides, 5 minutes to the ice cream shop, 10 minutes through an alternate route back home, so he'd be with me for hardly half an hour. Yes, he wore safety gear, helmets, gloves, boots and knee pads. I bought them for him specifically. I, 26 female, have been married to my husband, 27, for a year. I dated him for 5 years and finally married him last year. He's always been perfect for me, and I simply cannot understand why he's suddenly acting like this and so suspicious of my brother-in-law and me. I didn't even know my husband was insecure about my relationship with my brother-in-law. I learned about it from my brother-in-law, and I don't like it at all. I also don't want to ruin my perfect marriage over some misunderstanding, but I'm really angry at my husband for not trusting me. I've always had a great relationship with my brother-in-law. He's 3 years younger than me. My brother-in-law and I got along since my husband introduced me to his family. I think of him as my younger brother. It's kind of funny that I get along with him more than my own brothers, and we joke about it. My brother-in-law and I are very frank with one another. He often jokes and makes me laugh in front of our family or when we spend time alone, and he always helps me, which is why we're so close to each other. 7 months ago, when I was sick, my husband wasn't present to help me because he was in a different city because of his new job. My brother-in-law helped me and stayed with me for a week. He helped me with chores, cooking and laundry. Even when I asked him not to let me bother him, he just said, "Sis, it's my responsibility to help you and take care of you in my brother's absence." But 3 months ago, my brother-in-law got distant. Usually, my brother-in-law would check up on me and call me every few days, but he got distant. He'd come over for dinner and spend time with me when I was alone, but stopped. I thought maybe he's going through something. I asked him, but he just brushed it off. But he started avoiding me more and stopped visiting me, and I started growing anxious, so I visited him 4 days ago. I wanted to know the reason. After I visited him and pressured him, he told me that his brother asked him to stay away from me, and he doesn't like the fact that we're so close, especially when he's not around, and he finds our close bond disgusting. I hugged him, said I would talk to my husband, and comforted him because I think he's just as hurt as I am. My brother is accusing his brother and his wife, and it's disgusting. I love both men. The only difference is I love my husband romantically and intimately, and I love my brother-in-law because I think of him as my brother. Anyway, I confronted my husband, and he kept telling me and explaining himself how he wanted to hide it from me and how he thinks that my being close to my brother-in-law is icky and people will judge us, etc. I said, forget those people who think about us like that, and I don't care. I will continue to be close to my brother-in-law, and I'm disappointed that you have so little trust in me and your own brother. He said he's sorry. I told him to get out and not return until I tell you. My husband left, but he constantly calls me and texts me. I replied to him and asked him how he was doing, etc., but I didn't tell him to come back even though he'd asked me a lot. I'm still angry at him for what he's thinking. So am I the idiot for kicking my husband out? OP, you can't understand at all where this is coming from. It seems obvious to me. You are the idiot. It sounds very much like an emotional affair from the outside. Yeah, she glosses over the husband and says nothing about him or their relationship, then gushes about brother-in-law. I really think OP likes male attention. I think that's what it is. I wonder if she has any female friends, and I also wonder if she's ever wondered and tried to put the shoe on the other foot that if her husband was behaving this way with a sister-in-law, either her sister or his brother's wife, would she really be accepting and tolerant of a close relationship between them and her husband? She's an idiot, and she definitely has strong feelings for her brother-in-law. Clearly not enough emotions for her husband if she still has them out of the house. And the brother-in-law backed off because his brother asked him to. So what does OP do? Goes over to brother-in-law's home to hug him and find out why he's been distant and try to bring him back into her fold. She's acting like a 20-year-old who doesn't want to give up the attention of another guy on the side while accusing her boyfriend of bad behaviour. She's awful. Hope she ends up with neither brother. I, 30 female, got engaged a few weeks ago and I'm incredibly excited. We actually already have a beautiful, happy and inquisitive preschool daughter together. We've been living together since my daughter was born and have been together for 7 years now, so it already feels like we're married, but we want to make it official before we start trying for our second. I met my fiancée Joey, 33 male, in my first year of law school. We started dating, and in the fall of my last year of law school I found out I was pregnant. I was only 25 at the time, was getting ready to start my career and wasn't married or engaged, so it was a terrifying experience. Luckily, Joey was supportive of me. He said he'd respect whatever decision I made and that he'd support me no matter what. His parents were terrified and definitely thought I should get an abortion when we first told them, but they were also kind and understanding. Initially, I was going to terminate the pregnancy and went to the clinic twice, but I couldn't go through with it. I come from an ultra-conservative family, and my mom especially doesn't think people should have intimacy before marriage. My 2 older sisters got married in their early 20s and are now stay-at-home moms. I'm the only sister who graduated from college, is no longer religious, and has career goals. When I told them I was pregnant, my parents were devastated. My mom cried, called me used goods, and asked how I could allow this to happen. They said Joey and I needed to get married since we were having a child together, and I explained that we didn't want to rush into that. My mom called me selfish and said neither of us was putting our baby first. They didn't speak to me until my baby girl was born because they were so upset that I got pregnant outside of wedlock and then didn't marry Joey before the baby arrived. I see them a few times a year and they certainly love my daughter, but I'm a huge disappointment to them. My future in-laws, on the other hand, were extremely kind and helpful during the pregnancy. They helped cover my medical care and even rented an apartment for Joey and me to live in after the baby was born, since we didn't start work for a few months after graduation. While I was studying for the bar exam, Joey's mom did a ton of babysitting and was always there to help if I needed a few hours to myself. I'm so grateful to them and feel even closer to Joey's mom than I do to my own at this point. When we told Joey's parents about the engagement, his mom cried and said how happy she was for us and our daughter. She also said she was so proud of us because we stuck together and made the most of things when life didn't go as we planned. She offered to help with the wedding, but we said we wanted to pay for it ourselves. We want a very small ceremony with our immediate families, a few close friends and our daughter. We really want it to be about celebrating our family and our little girl and don't need a huge ceremony. I told my parents the news last night since we got into town for Thanksgiving and they didn't seem excited. My mom asked if we were having a religious ceremony and I said no. I explained that we wanted a small, low-key wedding and that we were just eager to get married and make it official. My mom then turned to my fiancé and said he clearly wasn't too eager since he got me pregnant and lived with me for 4 years before asking me to marry him. Joey explained that he knew he'd wanted to marry me for years, but we were focused on our daughter, our careers and getting our loans paid off, and we'd been treading water since we graduated from school. My mom then told him that she'd ruined her dreams of her daughter getting married since the event had been spoiled now that we'd been living together and already had a child. She told me I can't, in conscience, wear white to my wedding since I'm not a virgin and have continued to sacrifice my purity. Typically, I laugh off my mom's comments, but I started crying. I told my mom that I've tried my best and don't need her constant judgments. My mom said I'm clearly ashamed of my life choices, and that's why I'm crying. I asked how anyone could be ashamed of my life choices when I have such a beautiful little girl. My mom said that we should have gotten married years ago for our child and that we're clearly not committed to her or each other. I told my mom that I no longer wanted her at my wedding because she's been nothing but cruel since I got pregnant. I only want people who love and support us at the celebration. My dad said he wasn't going if my mom wasn't included, and I said that was fine with me. I cried myself to sleep and Joey was furious that my mother was treating me so terribly. He also told me that he called and asked for my dad's permission before he proposed, and my dad was rude. He said that he'd say no if it weren't for the fact that we have a child together. He also accused Joey of using me for intimacy, not stepping up for our daughter and marrying me sooner. Joey didn't want to upset me, but he thought it was relevant in light of the fact that my parents clearly weren't warming up to the situation. Needless to say, he doesn't blame me for not wanting them at the wedding, and he feels uncomfortable having them there too after all the comments they've made. This morning I got a call from one of my older sisters. She told me I broke our mother's heart again, and I'd be cruel not to include her in the wedding. She also said Mom has loved and supported me and my daughter even though she strongly disagrees with my life choices. My sister says I've made my own choices, and I can't expect everyone to like and agree with them, but family is family, and I should include my mother. She also said that she wouldn't be there if my parents weren't included. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. At what point did your mom love and support you? She wouldn't even speak to you during your pregnancy. She's been nothing but vile. I don't see why you would even continue this relationship. Respect cannot be one-sided, family or not. Mom's about to learn a hard lesson. Judgmental people get judgment in return. I'm sorry this is so painful for you now, but the trash is clearly taking itself out. Just imagine what these people might say to your daughter when you're not around or when she's older. Nobody needs that. I hope you have a beautiful, happy wedding day with your true family and continue to live a joyful and fulfilling life with Joey and your daughter, and possible future kids. Good luck. I, nearly adult male, have been close friends with Julie, nearly adult female, since we were in kindergarten. Her parents passed away when she was really young and she lives with her aunt who doesn't really celebrate Thanksgiving. Many years ago, I invited Julie to Thanksgiving and she really liked it. as it was the first time she'd ever been to one. My parents too really liked her. Since then, I've invited her to Thanksgiving every year, which has become a tradition for us. Now, I have to say, Julie and I were really close friends. We went to movies, we hung out a lot, we studied together, and I really thought there could be potential for more. However, I misinterpreted it. Last month, when I asked Julie out, she was shocked and told me she never looked at me like that, and that what we had was way more valuable than a relationship. She was very kind about it. However, I was still really hurt and since then sort of distanced myself from her. This year I didn't invite her to Thanksgiving and Julie even asked me about it. I couldn't give her a straightforward answer, but Julie figured it out. She looked really sad about it, but she accepted it. At Thanksgiving last night, my parents asked me about Julie and I told them I didn't really want to invite her. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. She's wondering if you stayed friends with her in the hopes of dating her instead of genuinely being her friend. If you were actually friends, sure, you'd be a bit embarrassed, but just cutting her out like that makes you the bad guy in this situation. Yeah, to suddenly exclude her from basically her second family's holiday because she didn't return his affection, to me, is idiot behaviour. I think if he really cared about her, he would have made a point to share his feelings after the holiday so as not to get in the way of it. Give it a year and they'll probably be okay again, but right before it, of course not. Disagree. Feelings change over time. OP is allowed to pursue his change of feelings and he's not obligated to be friends with her either. It's hard when you're hurting. You need to heal and see if there's potential for you to accept her as only a friend. Some people can get over it, but not always. Hopefully her friendship with you can survive. Otherwise, keep protecting yourself. I will say not the idiot, and I hope she can understand your need to distance yourself. Good luck, sweetheart.